Sandbaggers, by whom I mean the occupation alternative media who were silent about what I discovered in the 80s because they wanted to go along with it, are stretching credibility now. What I mean by the strategy of stretching credibility is we know where they're coming from. They arrested me for reporting the evidence back in the days when I believed that John Lennon was murdered. In the script of Gail Burson, which traces to Nosferatu, she was an Israeli. So you're asking, why did England, London, 10 Downing Street, Peter Gabriel, go along with Gail Burson and never arrest her? And they made up this plausible espionage story about an experience park on Mount Desert Island, which allowed Yoko Ono to make her money back doing genocide pornography. And with the help of Seattle, they murdered somebody over the penny line. So everybody is satisfied that Clint Eastwood has managed Reagan's reputation by killing anybody who tries to make money from the script. And they're stretching this credibility story as we watch Gaza burn. And if you trace my warnings to the night I was arrested, you see that I said the evidence is that the Israelis are avenging Auschwitz, Treblinka, Dachau, Sobibor, and so on, because it's true. And it wasn't an experience park. It was a pornographic genocide fly trap. And the people who were gurgling were sniveling in favor of the AIDS attack. That's clear from the record. Okay. So rather than admit that Yoko Ono has gained the upper hand as a company partner of Gail Burson, Nosferatu, through the Zionist Jeffin Corporation, rather than admit that they engaged in pornographic genocide, they've said, let's put it behind us and address Gaza. Okay. So I'd like to explore with you a little bit of the cabal. Somebody else is on to the idea of a cabal. They said that Biden and Harris are in Trump's secret payment plan. And I said, don't be shy about that idea, because Putin is too. We're dealing with a leapfrog oligarchy. What's its history? If you go to UW-Tacoma library shelves, you'll find two books side by side right at the beginning of cinema studies, Clint Eastwood's America and Sergei Eisenstein's Immoral Memories. The Non-Aggression Pact of Adolf Hitler and Russia is predated by the cinema partnership of Sergei Eisenstein and Walt Disney. In fact, Walt Disney virtually discovered Adolf Hitler. It was a topic in the Donald Duck cartoon where Donald Duck is a Nazi. Sergei Eisenstein's Immoral Memories and Clint Eastwood's America are side by side in the history shelves. If you look at that era, D.W. Griffith was introduced to Mussolini through the gang in Fayoum that included D'Annunzio. So there's nothing all that strange about a cinema of the real partnership involving someone who is a namesake, because they use an index. That's the simplest thing to understand about what they did. Names like Casper recur. Names like Oswald recur. Names like Ronald recur. They use Blaze from the Cinders for Bly Cinders, and so on. They use Lazarus for Back from the Dead, Casper for the Friendly Ghost, the Friendly Fascism, Bly Cinders for Phoenix, Back from the Ashes. So they use an index. Okay, it's a very simple thing to comprehend about what they did. So when you look at the system that they used, tracing back to the dawn of cinema, when they were working together on a secret mission of intelligence, you have Oswald appearing in Dealey Plaza, but after going to Russia. This is a symbol of a continuation of the non-aggression pact. The forces of the KGB and the paperclip OSS were still in place from the days when they were trying to work together to smash Poland. It was called the Non-Aggression Pact. These forces were still in place, and they worked through Hollywood with the help of Allen Dulles and Ronald Reagan and John Wayne. It was anybody who really studies the intimacy of Hollywood's leadership over the social forces of America's Red Scare realizes that John Wayne started the Vietnam War. He did it with a man singing in German in the Green Berets. A Marine opens the Green Berets, the weirdest movie ever made. So we have a non-aggression pact signifying Oswald Mosley. You have to read about the Union of British Fascism. He was a friend of Ribbentrop. So the Cabal, Jack Ruby was really named Rubenstein, which is like Eisenstein. He was a Jewish fellow. And Oswald was in his network. Now, what they did was they decapitated the United States and it had uploaded this Casper system, this Houdini system, this friendly ghost faction, a fourth dimensional psychology of the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, so to speak. And that's the role that Lenin played. Now, notice how it says just like, starting over with parentheses around just like. A double looks just like. Double fantasy. You see, they used a double. He pulled a Houdini. That's perfectly clear. They're stretching the credibility to say we worked with the people who did it because, according to Paul McCartney, people are weird. They're stretching the credibility to say we worked with the people who did it because, according to Paul McCartney, people are weird. And you're supposed to accept that as an explanation for why they didn't stop Nosferatu when it became perfectly clear one night I was arrested in 1993 that the Israelis had set up sandbag to avenge Auschwitz, which is what they're doing in full view of everyone. They turned on the cameras for it. And Yoko Ono was involved in setting up the TikTok system. She has Asian hotties stalking across the street, representing Trump's idea of everybody wanting a virgin. It's called two virgins. Call it football. Pussy ball. Pussy football. So this is what they did. And that's why when you see Mick Jagger going and dancing at Tel Aviv, you think it's in solidarity with the supernova rave. But he wanted people to commit suicide. He was leading the lemmings. The supernova rave was bombed from above by Israeli helicopters. Most of those people were incinerated by the Israelis. The Israelis moved it into position on a signal on October 5th from Egypt. The Egyptians and the Jordanians and the Arabs haven't done anything for the people of Gaza because they believe, they can get away with Mike Johnson's idea. Oh, it's just like abortion. They normalize abortion, so we'll normalize Auschwitz. And this was the symbol of the peep show of Neva Pornographic. This is the symbol, which is the script, which gets George Galloway making himself out to be so much better than Jimmy Creary because he doesn't have extramarital sex. And he even said sex privately like Soros that had sex. This is the symbol of Neva Pornographic. Okay, Jack Rubenstein. Jack Ruby had the same psychiatrist as who? Charles Manson. The woman who wrote from Israel about D.D. Mansine, whose sister's name was Neva. This is a symbol of Neva pornographic. This is a symbol of Neva pornographic. Mansine is like Manson Cinema. It's a snuff film operation that Seattle has bragged of building momentum to promote. They bragged of it. That's where Seattle is coming from with Yoko Ono. They are on the side of Nosferatu. The NAACP is, the Black Panthers is, Clint Eastwood is. They all brag of torturing me. They brag of it openly and insidiously imply that Yoko Ono still wants to finalize her discretionary appeal for tribute to the sacrifice of somebody who, for her, symbolizes America. I was from the fleet off the coast of northern Japan. There's a telltale clip where the man says, "Also, Pittsburgh," because it's a super film. It's encrypted in these insidious UFA and Access Hollywood syndicates of cinema. So we know what they did, and there's their symbol right there. So this psychiatrist, this girl wrote about the Manson Cinema for, was the psychiatrist, my neighbor in Pittsburgh, for Attica State Prison. And this is what gets me about my so-called peers, especially those gruesome ninnies in England who do like this to King Crimson and stuff. It's that they worked with an Attica State Prison psychiatrist torturing with a neuro implant a grade school child. And they get off on it, saying John Lennon this, Yoko Ono makes money, nah, 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 nah. And they're helping Nosferatu burn Gaza, and they say, "Oh, Queerball, he wanted hell, we'll give him hell." That's what Nosferatu's minions were saying about Gaza. Now, Gaza and intellectuals, the Lebanese feminazis, all sided with Yoko Ono, and they're part of the sandbagger operation of stretching credibility as far as they possibly can regarding Robert Fripp's henpecked by Toya Wilcox gruesome ninny of an idea that virginity proves rape. I didn't touch a hair on the girl's head by her own admission in any way that would suggest that her virginity was an act of rape. She was still a virgin after dating her for 2 years. Can't you get it through your head what they're implying when they have Chinny Tamburo? Greg Carl living next door to her and then teaching me sign language, a deaf girl from North Korea or something. They have this symbolism. Greg Carl, I call him Pub Carl, he wrote the whole thing down. Everybody just ignores it. He says the listener is led through a bewildering myriad of surface details to arrive at the fundamental themes. It's a fable analysis thing. These are the people who played King Crimson for me. The fundamental themes are Casper, Back from the Dead Lazarus, Index, and Two Virgins Pussy Ball. And the stupid people in our civics went along with it because they think it would be funny. We'll have peep shows of Queerball crying from a neuroplasm. The NAACP will do like this here. Oh, we got the symbol of life. If you get a penny, we'll inject you for Yoko Ono. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. That is the whole cabal. George Galloway is defending it. Owen Jones is defending it. Penis Gabriel is defending it. My guy here in Tacoma is defending it. Everybody is justifying it. So you're sitting on your hands about admitting that you sat there sitting on your hands when you were warned. The Nosferatu who has sandbagged, has created an evil Israel combine in place to exact revenge on the world for Auschwitz. In tribute to gruesome ninny people who worship Yoko Ono, who wants revenge for Hiroshima against the United States. And you get these gruesome ninny sycophants in Seattle who are willing to threaten their own children with a nuclear bomb because they feel racially slighted. They feel racially slighted. Because there's a white who writes poetry, who only has been given Parkinson's. Stupid motherfucker.